All right. Welcome to Real Estate Hustlers Podcast. I am your host, Josh Appelman, founder and CEO of Appelman Properties. Today, we're joined with Nitzan Mosery. Nitzan is 30 years in real estate, owning a New York restoration company and a commercial RE/MAX franchise in South Florida. His expertise includes managing assets, spotting markets, and generating excellent returns. Nitzan, we're excited to have you on the show today. If you could, let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Josh. I appreciate being here. Born and raised in New York City. I'm first generation American. My parents came to this country looking for stability, a better life for their family so that they can build a nest egg for their children. And growing up in that family, it's my father used to drill into us all the time that there's two types of people in this world: those that pay rent and those that collect. And son, you always want to collect. That was the mantra in the house growing up. And I grew up with that. I grew up with my in the family business. So we had retail clothing stores. I grew up doing that. Then going into real estate, my father had opportunities to buy real estate back in the 70s in New York City. He bought that. My brothers and I went and we took it over and we built it up and expanded that business. And as you mentioned, we had a renovation and restoration company where we worked on homes, on apartments, commercial properties, renovating them, restoring them, bringing the beauty back out to life, And at the age of 25, my father passed away, and that kind of threw me for a downward loop. I started partying very heavily and drinking and just not knowing what life was all about. Kind of at that time as well, I was working on Wall Street. I was working for Lehman Brothers at the time. And I just kind of gave everything up, packed a bag, moved to Israel, sat on the beach for about a year, and then went traveling for another 6-7 years. Just no responsibilities, no headaches. I didn't have any mortgages. I didn't have bills. I didn't have a family. I had nothing. It was just me and myself. And I went traveling around the world. And it was an incredible journey. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about the laws of the universe. Learned a lot about people, mindset, and understanding how the energy and the powers that be work around us when we're looking to build an empire for ourselves, when we're looking to do whatever it takes, whatever we want. There are certain rules and laws that we have to abide by. And I kind of got smacked in the face with that a couple of times while I was traveling. Hey, that's not the way to do it. This is the way to do it. Or did you see that's, you went down the wrong path. And it was a great learning experience. And I brought all of that knowledge and experience into my business, and I've created my business today with those same philosophies, and it's been incredible. It's been an incredible journey. I started to move back to the state. I left in 1997. I lived in Israel for about a year, hung out at the beach in Tel Aviv, didn't really do much, and then went traveling. And in 2003, 2004, around that time, I settled back in Israel. I opened up the first raw vegan restaurant in Israel. And then in 2009, I brought my family back into the States, and we settled in Florida, started flipping houses because that was the lowest hanging fruit, doing a lot of deals, wholesaling, flipping, double closes, did a lot of the low hanging fruit until I saw so many people coming into the industry. They say that when your barber starts telling you that they're getting involved in fixing and flipping or wholesaling and whatnot, it's time to kind of step back and reevaluate what's going on. And that's what happened. I saw that was coming in really fast and hot, the end of the foreclosures, or the abundance of foreclosures that were on the market. And I wanted to transition out of that because I'm kind of lazy. I like getting that passive income. I like going to the mailbox and seeing those rent checks come in on a quarterly basis. So I moved into acquiring duplexes, 4 units, flipped a 27 unit, and started rolling that multifamily business and it's been a lot of fun. And today we're closing in 10 days, God willing, with where we're sliding into that closing all ready and prepared on a $23 million Class A student housing. We bought another Class A student housing in Georgia we closed on it December of 2022. So, and then we have this one closing in Murfreesboro, Tennessee in, I would say, 10 days from today. And then right after that, we have another Class A that was built in 2022 that we're raising capital for. That should be closing in September as well. So it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride, a lot of stress, a lot of nerves, a lot of, anxiety. But you know what? Making money is simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. That's your background's incredible. It's growing up with the father who got you into real estate, you had retail clothing stores, around entrepreneurship, around the ups, the downs, the roller coaster ride of being a business owner. A lot don't know the struggles that are behind the scenes, just kind of see what the face that's put on out on the onset. And then being able to take off and travel the world. Was there a big exit that you had, or a lottery ticket that you won to be able to go and travel the world?
No, I actually lost everything at that time.
Okay. All right.
So, you could either have a lot of money and go travel, or you could have nothing and go do it. I was on the nothing side.
Got it. Well, and it sounds like you made the most of it though too. You started with ground zero and was able to use your skill set at different capacities and make it last for 6 years plus.
I found myself homeless a couple of times while traveling. Didn't have any money, didn't have a tent, didn't have a sleeping bag, and by the goodness of strangers that I met, I borrowed a sleeping bag, I borrowed a tent, and like you said, skill sets. So while I was traveling, I learned Reiki. I was a Reiki master. I am a Reiki master, and I learned shiatsu and reflexology and massage therapy, and I learned how to make jewelry while traveling. So that was what kept me alive during my travels. So, you could either go out there and beg for money, or you can figure out how to make money.
Yeah, that goes back to your will creates the actions that are needed to make whatever you want the outcome happen. That's huge. Well, was there a pivotal moment or a mind shift that made you want to come back to the States and start on real estate again?
So yeah, it was that I had two daughters. I was living in Israel, and all my friends that I grew up with, they all had kids, and I saw that they were always getting together with the kids and having barbecues and trips together. And I was way out in Israel, and my wife is European. And at the time with the market, we said, look, we can sell our house in Israel, make a really nice, really nice money on it. We can come to Florida. We can hang out with our friends and have the kids meet each other and play and buy a house, live in it for a year, fix it, and move on with our hippie lifestyle. What is it now? It was 14 years later. Here I am. I had dreadlocks, had long dreadlocks. I had a goatee, very long goatee. So really on the hippie side of things. And 14 years later, there's no more dreadlocks. There's no more goatee. I'm clean shaven. I've got a coaching program, a mentorship program. I'm doing deals now, and it's been a ride. So it was the shift of the market that kind of, gave me that itch to get back into it.
So there's a lot of different ways to invest in real estate. You've been on the single family side. You've been the wholesaler. You've been transactional lending, which means you're basically just flipping paper. You've now you're on very, very large multifamily and student housing. So you've went on many different verticals in real estate. And there's pluses and minuses to everything. Everything comes along with its load of BS. No matter what you're doing in life,
right.
whatever job it is, it's got its great moments and its downfalls. Which one of those asset classes have you enjoyed the most?
I would say multifamily and student housing is the best, and the reason why is because you have economies of scale. Right. First, let's start with that. You have economies of scale. When you're buying a single family home and you're looking to rent it, or even with in Airbnb. You know, a lot of people making a lot of money with Airbnbs, and I have a few Airbnbs as well, short-term rentals. But those get affected when there's a recession, when there's inflation, when there's a hiccup in the economy. People tend to slow down on travel, leisure. Those expenses kind of take a back seat, right? Commercial properties, when there's a recession, people say, you know what, I'm giving up my 5,000 square foot office space. All you know, today with technology, all I need is my phone and a screen. So maybe I can work from home, or maybe get a smaller WeWork little corner or something of that nature. So that, you know, that tends to happen. When you know, in single family, when we're talking economies of scale and you want to rent it, if that tenant doesn't pay you that month, guess what? You don't have income that month. You know, your bills are on you. So multifamily and student housing, you have the economies of scale, because if you're buying even a 10-unit property, you don't have to go and buy 100 units. You can even do a 4-unit property, right? 4-unit property, one person doesn't pay you. Guess what? You got 3 people that are still paying you, that if you've done your homework correctly and you've done your numbers, those 3 tenants can still pay for your expenses. When you're doing a 100-unit property, you know, you can have 10 people not paying, you can still cover your mortgage.
Yeah.
So you have economies of scale, you know, one roof, one landscaper taking care of the entire property. You know, if you have 10 single family homes all around the city, you're probably not going to have the same landscaper. So you're not going to have a good discounted rate on those properties. You're going to pay a lot, right? So that's the economies of scale. That's being able to have many pay you to give them a good place to live. Plus, with multifamily and student housing, the bigger you go, you can have a property management company that sits between you and the property and the tenant, so that you have to take those calls, right? On a single family home, you know what? You're the landlord, you're the property manager, you're the plumber, you're the AC tech, you're everything, just to save on your expenses. So that's why I love multifamily. Student housing is kind of multifamily on steroids.
Yeah.
Right? Because in multifamily, you get a security deposit, you do a background check. Great. Student housing, you do your background check, you get your security deposit, but then you get the parents to sign on the lease as well as guarantors. So you know that kid, whatever damage that kid is doing, whatever, you know, rent that kid is owing you, you're going to get it, because the parents don't want to get dinged on their credit.
Yeah.
Right. Plus, what the research that we've done is, after big recessions, universities have increased in student size because people want to go back and learn.
Smart. Yeah.
Right. People want to go back and study, whether it's undergrad, grad, whatever it is. There's more people coming into the university. So that also then has, you know, it's a supply and demand. So if more people are coming to that university and it's on a first come, first serve basis, the undergrads are going to want to go in there first, so that they know that they're in their university and they're in, which means that now more people want to live on campus plus off campus, because the student housing, the university doesn't have enough apartments to house all these people. Excuse me. Now, we're also buying strategically located student housing. So the one that we're closing on in 10 days is literally down the block from the university, 0.1 miles from the school. So you have all the athletes that live on that want to be close to the school. They come to us. We have a waiting list. We had people that came that pre-leased this year that wanted a 3-year lease because they don't want to go anywhere else. They want to secure their spot on our properties. Plus, we're also buying from either developers or investors that have bought the property, but they're the ones that bought it from the developer. So it's fairly new, very, very new properties. So we're going in now. Excuse me. So a lot of times when you're buying multifamily, you're doing value add, right? You're buying a property that hasn't been taken care of, or there's a lot of room to throw money into it, so that you can so that you can raise the rents, add value to the property, raise rents. The properties that we're buying, they're Class A properties. So the value add is more on management inefficiencies and pushing rents to where we can, to where we know we can get them. So those are the two products that we love the best. And again, why recession and why inflation? When there's a recession and people lose their jobs, what happens? They don't pay for their mortgages. They want to get rid of expenses. They sell their homes. They go rent, right? When inflation happens, just like we're seeing today, someone wants to buy a $300,000 home. 2 years ago, they can come up with 3%, 10%, maybe max 20%. Yeah. Today, you got to come up with 30, 35%, right? So you got to come out of pocket more. Now, for that same house, you could have gotten a 3% mortgage 2 years ago. Now you're getting a 6%. So your output on a monthly basis just doubled. So people don't want that. People are now saying with inflation, they're going, you know what? I'd rather rent for 2-3 years, hold my money, see what happens, see where the market goes, and then go out and buy. So that's why multifamily is a great bet against, or a great hedge against recession and inflation, because people will always need a place to live. They may not always want to buy homes, right? A lot of millennials today, they don't want homes. They want to be transitory, right? Especially with technology. We have our cell phones, we have our laptop, we have portable Wi-Fi's. I can go anywhere today and do business. Right. So that's why they're renting more from us.
Thank you. You stepped into a question I had on the student housing. So there are pre-leases. Is there any vacancy, or do people typically just lease throughout the entire year on student housing?
So you lease throughout the entire year, and a lot of people ask, well, it's only a 9-month school year. Yeah. What happens the other 3 months? You don't collect rent those 3 months? How do you work it? We have 12-month leases, because the time from when the students leave to when they come back is about 4 to 6 weeks. Not a lot of time. That's for us to go in, do all the repairs, all the renovations, paint, get all those rooms ready for all those students when they come in. Now, students that want to come in early, they pay an early admission to come in early. But we have 12-month leases. And yes, usually, well, the students stay for 12 months, unless, of course, they're causing problems, they're breaking the rules, they don't pay, then we have to evict them. But very, very rarely do we have that. Remember, the eviction also goes on the parents.
Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Right. So they will do whatever it takes to make sure that their kid pays rent and doesn't do anything. For example, I remember when I was doing the walkthrough, in the unit by unit walkthrough for the property that we're closing next week, there were kids that their roommates just slammed in the door. Now you got a door hanging off of one hinge. Yeah. Right. Well, you know what? The parents are paying for that. Right. Because they don't want us to ding their credit. Right. So they will do whatever it takes to make sure that their kids are staying, learning, and paying.
Yeah, being responsible. And then you're renting out, you're leasing out each bed instead of bedroom. So you get, what is it, 2 beds per room?
So yeah, that's a great question. Now it all depends on the style of rooms that you have. So for the project that we're buying next week that we're closing on, it's a big square. Okay. And imagine taking the middle of the square out, and that is the communal living area. So in the communal living area, you've got granite countertops, you got a full kitchen, stove, oven, microwave, fridge, dishwasher. You got an island that is also granite countertops. You give them a sofa, a TV. So that's the communal area. Then in each corner is a bedroom that closes the door. And then you got it's like a studio apartment with a little kitchenette and their own bathroom. So you've got 4 studio apartments in one unit with a communal kitchen. So that unit we're renting, there's 4 bedrooms in one unit.
Okay. Right.
So each student has their own little private studio that they can go into study, or they can hang out in the communal areas. Okay. We have a student housing, for example, the one that we closed in Milledgeville. Those are tiny little cottages, small cottages, 4, 5, and 6 bedroom cottages. Again, with communal rooms, each one having their own bathroom. So the bedroom has one bed in it. So we're renting one bed, one unit, one room to each student. So again, in those cottages, you can have 4 people living in one, 5 or 6 people.
Got it. Nice. Have you ran into any in general, any students leasing to like other people outside of your all's leases?
Oh, we've caught people that have tried to sublease and whatnot, but as soon as we catch that, it's out.
Yeah.
And student housing, the thing with student housing is it's an apartment complex.
Yeah.
So if someone who's not a student wants to come and rent, we can't discriminate. So they can come in and they say, well, I want to live here. Okay, well, here's the rent. That's your space, that little tiny space. This is what you get. This is what it is. And you have to follow the house rules. You have to follow everything. So we do have some people once in a while they'll come in, but once they realize that this is a student housing project and, they don't have any peace and quiet and it's run by, teenagers and how it is, right. In college and whatnot. They tend to come and say, hey, I'd like to get out of the lease. This is not what I thought and blah, blah, blah. And so they move on, but we cannot discriminate from anyone. However, the body of the resident base is of student housing.
Got it. Very cool. So if, let's say I had no money, zero money, have a job. How would you recommend that I get started investing in real estate?
That's a great question. Zero money.
Let me take. I don't have any disposable money,
right,
to put towards a huge down payment for real estate.
Sure. Well, the first thing that you want to do is pick what do you want to do in real estate? Because there's so many shiny pennies, right? You can wholesale, you can flip. Right? You can fix and flip. You can buy and hold. You can, there's tax liens, tax deeds, all this self-storage, whatever it is. First of all, figure out what you want to do, right? Then go get educated. You got YouTube University. You've got people like myself that are mentors, that are coaches. And I had a guy flew in from Israel to sit at my desk for an entire month. He's like, listen, said what you said. He's like, I don't have money. I don't have disposable money to go out and pay you and to actually have you sit with me one-on-one, or I don't have the disposable money to go out and buy a house and to do this. He goes, what can I do? Can I fly in and just sit at your desk and just listen to you? I said, sure. That's what you want to do. Go right ahead. And he sat here for a month and a half, and he asked me questions. He was listening. He was doing his things. So that's another thing. But if you want to start getting involved in real estate and you don't have a lot of money, disposable money, I would start with the wholesaling, right? If you want to start making money in real estate, wholesaling is easy because all you need to do is create a buyer's list, create a seller's list, and then figure out what that person wants, right? Go out there. And when I started, I would put ads on Craigslist, looking for sellers, looking for buyers. And then if I had someone who wanted to sell their house, I knew how over the phone to qualify them and figure out how much work the house needed, how long they've owned it. Do they have a mortgage? What's their situation? What's the story behind it? When was the last time you did interior paint job? When was the last time you did an exterior paint job? How old is the AC? How old is the roof? The windows, are they original or are they stormproof, right? What kind of appliances do you have? All of that. And I'm writing this down so that later I understand what is the real value of the property. And then I'd go and I'd do my work and find the comps. And then I'd say, okay, so this is the value of the house. This is how much work the house needs. I put an offer on that house. While I'm putting an offer on the house, I'm looking for buyers who want that type of product. And then I would go and I would put a couple of shekels on top of that and I'd flip them the contract, right? That's one way of doing it. Now, if you want to get into multifamily and student housing, you don't need money. You don't need disposable income. You need to find people that have money. It's all about who you know. It's all about who has money. It's not about how do I do this, right? We always ask how. You know what? I didn't know how. All I knew is who, because I didn't know how to do anything. So I said, who can help me do this? Who do I know that is doing this already? Let me find out, right? So when I was looking to get into multifamily, I said, who's doing this? Who out there is doing this that I can learn from? And And I found someone and I started reading about them and learning from them and listening to them and listening to podcasts like this, going out and to different meetups and different venues that people were educating. A lot of these gurus out there, they do these free 2.5 hour training, which is a hook to get you into their free event, which is another hook to get you in, and blah, 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 blah. So I would go to these events not wanting to buy anything, but you know what? As much information as I can get free, I'm there. And you never know who's going to be sitting next to you, right? So start networking, start going out there, figuring out who do I need to meet? Well, I need to meet people with money, right? I need to meet people that are doing this already, that have a track record. I need to meet people who have experience in this industry and figure out what I want to do, right? So that's what I would recommend. Figure out what you want to do and then get educated on it. And then go out and tell everybody what it is you're doing and how they can help you.
Yeah, that's huge. I think the universe brings things to you if you just ask for it. That's absolute. So say that say I started wholesaling, I'm investing in real estate, and now I want to get I want to start closing on $20+ million student housing projects. How would you, what would be the steps to take to start raising capital?
That's a great question. Okay, steps to raising capital. So the first thing you would need to do is you'd need to have a team. Okay, a team of people who have success in, let's say you want to buy multifamily. So you want to find a team that you trust, that has a good track record, and you want to connect with them. You want to become what we call in the industry a strategic partner, someone that works with them, and figure out what kind of assets they like and who they are, and build a rapport with them, right? Because you're going to be raising capital probably for their projects. Now, mind you, you can only raise money for someone else's deal if you're licensed, if you're a broker dealer, if you're licensed to do that. So if you're not licensed to do that, you can't raise capital for other people. And that's why you want to go and become a part of a team. That way you're raising capital for your deals.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say you've got that. Let's say you've got a team, you've got a sponsor. A sponsor is a guarantor. It could be a team of people that are sponsors. They are the people that are signing on the loan to guarantee the loan. They're the people that have the net worth, the track record, the liquidity, all of that, right? So it could be a group of people that combined have that, all of those, all that criteria. So now you've got a team. Then you got to go. Now, once you have a team and you want to raise capital, what you want to do is you want to figure out, who am I going after? Who are the people that I want to talk to that I believe can help raise capital, that I can raise capital from, right? So when I was growing up in this industry and I had my mentor and whatnot, he told me go to 2 networking events a week and get business cards and build relationships with these business cards. You know what? I did that. Not only did I do that, I would send my wife to other events.
Nice.
To network. I would send her sister to other events to network. Well, they would go together. 2 beautiful ladies, European accents. They would go and they would talk to people. And then I would go. So we'd hit several different events, and I have thousands of business cards. That didn't work very well because it was too broad, it was too general, and it didn't really when you go out fishing, for example, and you want to fish for trout and you're using, I don't know, bass bait, for example, you're not going to catch any trout because your bait is for bass, right? So how are you going to do that? You need the right bait for the right fish. And what I was doing was I was just trying to be this very general guy, right? Just trying to talk to everyone and anyone. And that didn't work because I wasn't talking to the right people, right? I think Zig Ziglar has a great saying. He goes, would you rather be a wandering generality or a meaningful specific?
Yeah, that's good.
I would rather be a meaningful specific. So it took me years to figure this out. And then I figured it out. When you're out there, you have to create the avatar of who you want to raise capital from. Okay. And you have to be incredibly specific. Just like I'm looking at you right now, I can see, your eye color, your hair color, the kind of clothes you wear, what are your thoughts about money? What are your beliefs about money? What are the myths that you think that you've heard about real estate? Kids, no kids, what age group are you in? What are your goals, fears, desires, needs, wants? Where are you in life? What is it that you want to do, right? When you write that down on a piece of paper and you give that person a name, I have Robert and Mary. Those are my two very specific, two of my avatars. Okay. And I say, okay, so one, let's say, is a dentist. Right. And I know from meeting a lot of dentists, and there may be some dentists that hear this, and some people may say, no, that's not true. But a lot of dentists that I've met hate what they do. They hate being a dentist. Now, that's not an orthodontist. It's not a surgeon. It's a dentist, the guy that drills in your teeth. I've met so many dentists that hate what they do. Well, if you know that dentists hate what they do, and you can create an avatar for a dentist, then you start going to all these events where dentists hang out, and they have boot camps, and they have seminars, and they have events, networking events. So, for example, I'm in South Florida, so I hooked up with the South Florida Dental Association. Guess what? They have quarterly events. Guess who's at those quarterly events? Yours truly. And what am I doing? I am not talking real estate at all. I don't mention to them returns. I don't mention to them multifamily. No, what I do is I build rapport. I build a relationship with them. I make them into one of my contacts. And the first time I meet them, I tend not to talk about myself at all. I want to hear more about them. How long have you been a dentist? What got you into it? What's keeping you there if you don't like it? How many kids do you have? How old? All of that information, because I want to get to know them. People, and it's, you hear this all the time, but it's so true. People will do business with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. The property comes secondary.
Yeah.
Right? They need to trust you. They need to trust that you know what you're doing. They need to trust that you're transparent. They need to trust that you will do the right thing, that you're an upstanding person. Then they'll investigate the property once you bring them a property. Then they gotta like you. If they don't like you, they don't want to do business with you. Why would I want to be stuck to a jerk for 5 years and have to deal with this dude or dudette that I don't like?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I would do. That's what you do when you go out and raise capital. People think, what's that magic word? What's that magic phrase that when I meet someone, I tell them, and oh yes, here's my money. The magic sauce, the secret sauce, is building that relationship with them. Building relationships. I spent my years building relationships with people where now when I present them with a property, they don't even look at it. They go, yeah, here's money, because they know my track record. Right? Yeah. So you want to find the team that you can connect with, create the avatar of the people that you want to, that you feel will make great investors, and then find them and then build relationships with them. Right? It's about them. Huge. It's not about you.
Yeah, that's there. And there's not a I was going to say there's not a fast track, but then at the same time, there is a way to buy time, and it's buying someone else's time to help get you there, because that's where proximity is power. If me and you are in the same room together and we know each other, we like each other, trust each other people are going to come around and see our energy, and then they want to be a part of that energy as well. So there is a way to skip ahead, so to say, instead of starting from scratch, buy someone else's time and let them be. That's your mentor.
Right.
That's a huge part of it.
And another thing is, right, so when you're creating an avatar, it doesn't have to be a specific one person, like a dentist, right? Why not pick, today this word is thrown out there, an influencer, right? Influencers are all over. They're not just on social media, right? You have influencers who be a doctor, and he has a network of 150 doctors. So instead of me reaching out to 150 doctors, I build a relationship with that one doctor who has a network of 150 doctors, and I build that relationship, and I show them projects, and I show them how they can take all the money that they've made while being a doctor, put it in real estate so they can blah, blah, blah. And I present it to them, and like, holy cow, that's great. Now they go out there and they bring their doctors to me, right? Their teammate, the sponsor. I pitch them, I share with them, I show them, I talk to them. I'm the expert in real estate. He's the expert in doctorness, right? And being a doctor. And he's got that connection and that respect, just like you said. So now it's just an energy that's being built, and they'll listen to me because they respect me because of him. They trust me because they trust him and he trusts me, just like you said, proximity. So go out and find someone who has a network of people and make them your friends.
Yeah. And just get in the room, get
That's
get
right.
next to people, learn the language, and hear what other people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a beginner real estate investor, and I'm not sure which path to go down. I'm trying to connect the dots, trying to learn the language. I'm trying, but I still can't figure it out. How would you recommend what path would you recommend me to go down to learn about this?
That's a good question. It's a great question. There are a lot of people out there teaching. There are a lot of people out there. Find someone who's doing what you want to do. Okay. Find someone who's got what you want, and then do what they did. Do what they did, you'll get what they got. If you're looking to build a buyer's list and you don't know how, and you're having difficulty, or you're looking to get into multifamily, and okay, I started talking to people, I'm researching on YouTube, but I don't know how to underwrite. You got to find a mentor. You got to find someone who's going to sit with you and who's going to take you by the hand. Because again, we were not born learning how to do this. We need to learn how to do this. We need to figure it out. Nobody came out of their mom's womb and said, okay, this is how you underwrite a 150 unit deal. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet. Right? Nobody came out with a laptop and going, all right, here it is. Here's a spreadsheet. No one. Yeah. So it's all learned, right? It's all you learn these things. Find someone who's willing to teach you. Find someone who's willing to help you, take you under their wing. Will it cost money? Probably, because you're asking for someone's time. You're asking for their knowledge, right? You can go out there and you can learn a lot about multifamily, underwriting, analyzing on YouTube. But when you're talking to the broker, and the broker asks you that question, hey, Josh, what was the last deal you closed on? And you're a newbie and you got nobody, and you're looking around, all you hear are crickets. You're like, I've never done a deal before in my life. That broker's like, great. Here's the crappiest deal I've got on the table. Have at it. And then won't call you ever again. Yeah. Right? What a mentor will do for you is open doors, introduce you to people, show you, say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Marcus and Millichat broker, for example, this is a colleague of mine. This is Josh. He's a colleague of mine. We're working together. He wants to break into the South Dakota market. Would you mind introducing him to some of your top brokers in the South Dakota market? Boom. How do you like that? That would take somebody years to build that, right?
It's instant credibility.
Right. Or the mentor would say, listen, don't do that. Do this. When this is said, this is how you respond. When you're talking to your network of people and you want to convert them, say this rather than that. Okay. It's those little tweaks that will take you where you need to go. But if you don't have someone on your team to coach you, you'll never get there. Right. I mean, I could talk about coaches all day long. The GOAT of basketball, MJ, Michael Jordan, right? We all know the story. What did his high school coach tell him? Don't play basketball. You're never going to make it. Sit down. That's what drove him to do it. And if you remember, now, Michael Jordan, well, Michael Jackson also had a coach, right? Michael Jordan, he didn't start winning championships until Phil Jackson started coaching the Bulls. So now you have this team of awesome players, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, all the other players. We don't have to go into it. They were playing. But what happened when the coach came in? The coach comes in, he sits back, he goes, all right, you know what? I want you a little more to the right. I want you to, your hands are your elbows are out. Bring them in a little bit. When you're shooting, tuck your elbow in. Don't tuck it out, right? Those little tiny tweaks that the coach does takes you to become a championship team, right? So find the coach that will coach you, that will mentor you, that will take you, that will understand who you are, what your strengths are, will help to pull out your strengths and your superpower from you. And that will help you build a team around you of other people that their strengths are your weaknesses. So now you've got an awesome team that you can go forward, right? A lot of times, and when you're building that team, you want to look at skill sets and you want to look at personalities, right? Because sometimes someone who may have a skill set, but their personality just doesn't suit the job that their skill set has, right? For example, someone could be great at, or someone says, you know what, I love underwriting, but their personality is that of a nurturer. They nurture and they're great and they're talking, and every time they speak to somebody, they're made to feel great and so forth and so on. Now, you can tell that person, okay, I want you to be my underwriter. That may not serve your company the best, because them being a nurturer, they could be the best investor relations person on your team. You can go out and find someone else who does it, but that personality shines when they're talking, right? So work on the personality, figure that out, right? Skill sets, understanding who needs to be where on a team, right? And then you can build your team. And that's what a coach and a mentor can do for you. The dry stuff, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, this, that, right? That you can learn from a book. It's the stuff that the mentor sees in you, the skill sets, the strengths, all of that, and pulls it out from you and holds you accountable, right? Yeah. So go find someone who'll do that for you.
The extra push, for sure. What books would you recommend reading to help level up and gain additional knowledge?
Oh, wow. Number one book, Think and Grow Rich, right? Napoleon Hill. That's the best book out there on how to get the mind right and how to get your body right, how to get your energy right, and how to do things and get you holistically positioned for success, right? Because if your mind isn't there, but let's say you're working out 6 days a week, but your mind isn't there and you're thinking crappy thoughts all day long, it's going to come out some way, somehow, right? If you're not eating well, if you're not sleeping well, right? It's a holistic thing. You got to take care of your mind, your body, and your wallet at the same time, right? So Think and Grow Rich. Then there's David Lindahl's book. What is it? Emerging Market Cycles or something of that nature. That's a great book to read on understanding market cycles and how to evaluate them. Okay. Tons of books. I mean, let me see. What do I got here? All my books are at home. Let's see. I have Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. That's the negotiating book. Hold on. Actually, I have my Audible here.
Yeah, that's what I do myself. Just plug it in and
I go on walks and I just plug it in. As a Man Thinketh. That's a great book by James Allen. Then there's a book called Great CEOs Are Lazy by Jim Schlexer. Let's see, what else do I got here? Let's see. 48 Laws of Power. Wallace. Then there's Wallace D. Wattles trilogy. It's the trilogy is The Science of Getting Rich, The Science of Being Well, and The Science of Being Great. Then there's a great book by Stephen Schwarzman, the guy who founded Blackstone. It's called What It Takes. Everybody should read that. And then for the mind, there's a book called Silva Mind Control Method, Silva, a book by Jose Silva. Okay. That teaches you how to manifest anything you want in life.
Yeah.
Right. Huge book. Love it. What else? The $1 Billion Secret. So there's tons of books. There's tons of books.
Love it. Awesome.
Yeah. And a great book that took me on my travel journeys. I read it right before. It's called Illusions.
Illusions.
Yeah, it's a great
Write
book.
that down. Awesome. That's it. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, learn more about yourself, your company, possibly invest alongside of you, or even be coached by you, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. You can call me. My number is 561-212-7247. You can reach out to me via email. It's my first name, Nizan. It's without a T though. Nizan at mtninvestmentgroup.com. And if you want to check out our portfolio, it's www.mtninvestmentgroup.com.
Awesome. Cool. I definitely look forward to following you, and we will certainly talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Josh.